there's a lot of these communities out there, and there's groups of people living together where they get to enjoy the benefits of youth. At the same time, they're all working on their businesses together.
Yeah.
And I've seen a lot of people scale up in life just doing that, because you get the best of both worlds. You're living young, you get to enjoy yourself, you get to be around your peers that are gonna help you out.
One thing I can say, time I've known you, I didn't realize how extensive your sales and call center background. And I think that gives you a different perspective than the traditional media buyer.
I mean, when you're doing sales, you're seeing what's happening. You're not just talking to somebody and hoping they fill out a form. So you're seeing the back end, how it works.
When was your let's fucking go aha moment where okay, bro, I can fucking do this?
Funny thing, I got confidence when I started working corporate, and I was working with Microsoft. I was like, Microsoft hired me. I must be doing something right.
You're trying to break into YouTube. What would be your advice to someone like that?
I mean, my advice would be pretty much repeating what I just said as far as patience.
Everyone's on Meta, right? Everyone's on Facebook. I mean, YouTube's been around, become harder. They're you see anything else up and coming?
I'd say...
You just dropped some Colombia con knowledge right there, man. That's
hey, man, I got to give the goods. If not, I won't get invited again to this wonderful room.
Get ready to level your shit up with the LFG show. We travel the globe to bring you heavy hitters from all walks of life. We've been talking some serious business, from the best digital marketers, government contracting experts, to top athletic and celebrity doctors. We've got it all covered. We're talking to guys who've cashed in for billions with a B. And the best thing is, we're just getting started. So hold on tight. We're about to crank it up a notch. Get ready for next level networking and masterminds within the LFG community. Scared money don't make no money or honey. Hit the subscribe button, drop a like, leave a comment, and let's fucking go.
Bro, round two, fight. We're in Medellin in the background over there, but Brooklyn is in the house today. I got my man Ralph Moreta. He's a fucking master YouTube media buyer. We're gonna dive deep into YouTube, dive deep into media buying. I'm pumped up to be here with you. By the way, we just got fucking kicked out. We're in the lobby of Novotel, man. How often have you been kicked out of places? You're from Brooklyn, man. I'm sure you got kicked out a lot of places in your life, right?
Now recently, yeah, I've been kicked out of a few places, but not recently, not for sure.
Yeah, man, I'm fucking 45, still getting kicked out, man. This shit happens, man.
It happens, bro.
It happens.
You and me both.
It happens, man. That's what happens when New York's in the house, man.
No doubt, no doubt.
So listen, we're here, man. We're here, bro. We've known each other a couple years, man, and we've had some really fun times together. I'm excited to have you on the show. I know you're on the John Castle show. Did a great job on that show.
Thank you.
And you're just a wealth of knowledge. You've been doing this for a very long time, right? I think over your third decade in the game, right?
I mean, I've been doing this since 2011. So yeah, we're talking about 13, 14 years.
Yeah, 13 years. And bro, one thing I can say, the time I've known you, anytime I hang out with you, I learn more about you. Last night we were having dinner. We were with John. We were with a bunch of people in the industry. I didn't realize how extensive your sales and call center background. When you were Series 7 licensed, right? You were a broker at one time.
Series 7, 24.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I think that gives you a different perspective than the traditional media buyer, because you're able to look at things from the consumer perspective, right? And as a salesperson, and we're always looking at how do you get someone to say, yeah, and as a media buyer, you're getting someone to click on that, right? So would you agree that gives you a different perspective on things than most media buyers?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, when you're doing sales, it's, even media buying in general, you're always using some type of persuasion, right? And sales is part of that. But when you're doing sales, you're seeing what's happening. You're not just talking to somebody and hoping they fill out a form. Like, you're trying to get the deal done, get the money through, and then you see what that ends up being, coming through commissions or so on and so forth. So you see in the back end how it works.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's while the media buying guy is, or girl, is generating forms and sending leads and refreshing stats, cool, but I'm actually receiving those leads, talking to the people, and getting them to take the action that's necessary. So I think that gives you an advantage because of how I perceive the things that I'm doing. Like, I feel like a lot of affiliates, they're just trying to get whatever they can get through to generate some revenue, right? Because they're just looking at, hey, I just want to get paid this, whatever, 15th next week, so on and so forth. But I know, like, hey, if I send the leads, and we're talking about lead gen in particular, that are quality and the person's happy with, they're gonna want to work with me for a very long time. And that makes more sense, at least from my point of view.
You think like most So I was going to ask you, what do most newbies or people that are struggling get wrong? I mean, it sounds like they just throw shit against the wall and hoping something will stick. Would you say that's the case or no?
I mean, I think the biggest thing behind it is just when you throw the word affiliate marketing, the first things that you start thinking about are like, at least someone that doesn't know, are those pop-ups that you see if you go to like a site, you're trying to watch a free fight or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, those type of things, win an iPhone and things of that nature. And those offers exist for sure. But you don't really think about it as what it really is a referral service. Affiliate marketing is just a different way, an angle, so to speak, of saying referral service. Because you could be, the moment that you're sending a lead to, let's just say, a home service or something like that, you're doing affiliate marketing. But it's the same thing. But people don't really think about it that way. They just think about like, oh, how can I get this person to click on this? Or how can I get this person to fill out this form? Oh, you win an iPhone. So from the beginning, you just have this perception of trickery, for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of people trying to get into that on that end. A lot of people get that start with that stuff. I mean, I've been there as well. So yeah, you're throwing a lot of stuff against the wall. Or shit, you can curse here, right?
Yeah, of course.
Throw a lot of shit.
Yeah.
Let's fucking go,
let's fucking
man.
go, show,
Let's
man.
fucking go.
Yeah.
So you could throw that. So yeah, a lot of newbies, they're throwing shit against the wall, see what sticks. They're deciding which traffic source. They're following the next person on YouTube that says something, the next person in the forum, how this person did 30K a day in Facebook ads, but they don't know that's just revenue. You know, they probably maybe made $300, maybe $1,000.
Yeah.
They were lucky. And it is easy. It's so difficult to find what is truly working, you know, or really understand what's truly working. To find what's working is easy because you use the spy tools, you can see it out there, and you get an idea, but you really don't have that belief unless you actually meet someone that's actually doing the numbers or doing it and making it happen.
Yeah. So when did you crack it, man? Because you came, you were a Series 7 light, you done sales, you were a debt settlement floor, right? When was your like, let's fucking go aha moment where like, okay, bro, I can fucking do this?
I would say when I started doing, well, I had moments when I had early success, but it was like one of them offers that just work right away for everybody for
It's
whatever
like when you
reason.
first gamble and you
Google, yeah, it's like when you first gamble. I first gamble, Puerto Rico, I remember it, won $300 in
You think you do that forever?
in roulette. And I was like, I'm gonna quit because I was doing a brokerage job, $300 a week. I'm like, I can't do this. I'm gonna do gambling, whatever. Shout out to Jovi. Gambling for sure. That's what I was gonna do. But like going back to when I first started and I had my first success, it was one of these offers that, I mean, it was, you know, I didn't want to talk about the offer anymore. It was one of those easy to convert offers, and Google just search, and I was just like, man, this is easy. I was making.
What year was this? Like 2012?
Dude, this was like 20, I want to say 13 or 14. Okay. Right? And I was just like, I got it made, so on and so forth. But then, you know, like everything else, I'm talking about a time when people were selling music tunes and stuff like that. You know, a lot of carrier subscription billing.
Forgot about that.
Yeah, that's how back. Yeah. But along those ways, I really struggled a lot with a lot of things. And then I want to say, you know, once I started, funny thing, I got confidence before anything when I started working corporate. Back in, I want to say 2014, 15, I'm not quite sure. That's when I had like an official gig doing what I did. And back then my thing was just Google search. And I was working with Microsoft. And I was like, I mean, Microsoft hired me. I must be doing something right. And that's where I started managing real budgets for the first time. I'm talking about, you know, $1 million a month, so on and so forth, and looking at other accounts. So that's when I first started getting confidence. Like, all right, cool, I know what I'm doing. But it's a different animal when you're working for something, you know, like Microsoft, per se. And then after that, once I got into YouTube ads, which is probably 5-6 years ago, I don't remember exactly, and I started running high ticket courses and things of that nature. And, you know, you start running a couple of hundred a day, a couple of thousand a day, and then you just like, you know, I remember, you know, my first big month, I'm spending like 600 grand, and we generated probably double that in profit, or close to that. And I was just like, okay, I belong. So from that moment, that's what gives you the confidence. And I already set up a process, a system. I've taught people how to do it. And I think that just makes it even bigger. I've actually taught people how to do it. They're doing it successfully. I know people out there that they did it successfully in affiliate. They did it successfully, having their own agencies. And just the fact that I brought my knowledge, my SOPs, and taught other people, and now they're blowing it up, that to me is satisfactory. So that, to me, gives me all the confidence that I need. I'm not gonna say there's some days that you launch something and you're like, this again, like it's not working, I don't know what I'm doing, so on and so forth. Those thoughts always creep into your mind. But I mean, ultimately, if I just look at the results and what's happened, I'm just like, okay, I know I can do this. So I'm confident in what I'm doing.
There's a new endeavor called Roofs in the Box. It's just, man, from day one, it's taken off.
When I first started getting into the roofing industry, what was happening was my fixed costs were always there. And so for me, I was looking at how can we kind of, one, save on these costs, and then two, how do I not lay people off during down times? But also maybe even the ability to pocket more money during the slow season or even the peak season. Since we've done this before, like with our lead gen companies where we have virtual staffing and from Argentina or Colombia, I'm like, why don't we do the same thing in the construction business? Now, once we figured it out, so we reduced their fixed cost by 70%. And so now during the downtime, they have real seasoned veteran type of players. But during the uptime, they pocket 70% of their operational costs are now going back in their pocket. And then when it's time to scale, they have the back end prepared, already ready to go to help them like lift off. Depending on what state you're in, you're averaging about 12.5% on what you pay out on taxes, insurance, FICA, all the different insurances that you have to pay out, right? So yeah, you don't have to pay out unemployment, you don't have to pay out FICA insurance, Medicare, Social Security, the things that business owners have to eat.
Roofs in the Box is not just limited to roofing or home improvement companies.
You can use it for any services, right? You can use it for IT. We use them internally for data sales, for hygiene, for analytics. It doesn't even matter what the vertical is.
It's like business in the box at the end of the day.
Pretty much, yeah.
So I want to talk about the YouTube stuff because I feel like, listen, I'm not a media buyer, but I work with media buyers, and my big thing was solar. I still do solar to this day. YouTube, from my solar experience and home improvement experience, it's so hard to crack. And everyone, their mothers, they figure out Meta, Facebook, right? Some guys, a few have figured out TikTok. But I feel like the fact that you're able to figure out YouTube puts you in a different echelon because I remember the volatility with that. We had a media buyer that fucking was starting to do 6 figures a day, 100,000 a day in solar, which is unheard of. It's probably one of only two on YouTube, right? But he'd have weeks where it was like killing it. Then like, what the fuck's going on? The volume's all over, but it's super, super volatile, man. So, I mean, would you agree with that assessment? And what makes it so difficult, man? How were you able to crack it?
I mean, I think YouTube becomes volatile depending on how you push it across the board, right? So YouTube is one of those things that is not a platform that really reacts as quickly as you want it to. I think the number one problem in most cases when running YouTube ads is that people just want to scale right away. Like none of this $100 a day. Like, yo, I want to spend $10,000 a day, $50,000 a day. And there's some instances that has happened that I know people that have done that. But it's more in cases where you have an offer with a really broad appeal or just the offer is so good or so new, especially when solar came out. Yeah. Of course, some of it you just get lucky and then you like, you will match that YouTube because you got lucky once. But the reality is anything that I've made work in YouTube, it's taken time to get it there. And then when it's gotten there, I have my own systems that I use to do the scaling where it keeps it as consistent as possible. So if you tell me, for example, hey, wow, you got good lead quality. You sent me 100 leads today. I'm gonna need, 500 leads tomorrow. I'm gonna have to push back. I'm like, I don't know if I can get that to you the next day. Can I get to that point in a more progressive manner? Yeah, and it'll be more consistent because I could do it. I could bump up the budgets. I could launch some more campaigns and they might be there for a day or two. But then like you said, then you have a day where nothing happens. Yeah. Or you have a day where I may spend double the money and I get like cost per lead 5 times higher. That happens. So it's a matter of really planning well and doing it time and time again. Now, as far as solar or whatever, you're in a good position because you higher up in the food chain, But when you're dealing you're trying to generate a lead and you get paid, $20, $15, that's gonna be almost impossible in something like YouTube, just on a consistent basis at scale, because YouTube just tends to be a more expensive platform. Now, having said that, I'm not gonna say I haven't got like 50 cent clicks, 60 cent clicks, because I do. It depends on what you're doing, especially if you're doing shorts. But the reality is, the closer you are to the end buyer, the more beneficial it is to you. And you know, guys, I mean, I know companies out there, and they literally have built their company doing stuff on YouTube.
Yeah.
And it's the same ad. We've seen the ad. You stand in front of a counter, a meter, and then you're like, oh, you know, government, whatever, local incentives, blah, blah, blah. So it's just a matter of having that consistency, having your account structured in a way where you can deliver a certain volume that's consistent. But if you're trying to like go from 0 to 100 right away, it may work for a few days, but it's not gonna hold for a long time, especially if you have just one campaign. I would love to have just one campaign. Unfortunately, that hasn't worked for me. I've heard it work for other people that have killed it. Bless their souls. That doesn't work for me. So I am more the school of thought. I'm a lazy media buyer. I like to set my things and then check it once a day. And if it's working, cool, I increase. If it's not, I pause, launch some more stuff, analyze the data. That's how I like doing it. And that's what I like about YouTube.
Let's say you're someone who's done very well, Meta, that's been your platform, right? Facebook, Instagram for the longest time, and you're trying to break into YouTube. What would be your advice to someone like that? Or maybe you struggled with YouTube in the past and you want to try it again.
I mean, my advice would be pretty much repeating what I just said as far as patience. Yeah. It's just be patient. You don't have to do a million ad sets. You don't got to get to $5,000 a day right away. Now, if you got the money, hey, you can launch campaigns at $5,000 to get from the get. And most likely, you probably gonna lose money that first day or second day. You know, if you have that pain tolerance, that's the quickest way to get there. But other than that, like Facebook, it's just right away it tells you like, oh, this is good. YouTube is a little bit more patient. But I will say this, because, and I've seen this when we ran campaigns on YouTube and Meta for high ticket courses. YouTube got higher quality. YouTube, I spent way more money on YouTube for high ticket stuff than I did on Facebook. I will say also this, if you're trying to run something that's very, very low ticket, don't even use YouTube. Don't even touch it. Because it's just not the same, you know? Like you trying to get like a $5 payout or even an $8 payout. I'm not saying you can't do it, but it's just way harder. YouTube really shines when it comes to something that really has a higher value and a very broad appeal.
Higher intent is what it comes down to at the end of the day. And Big Slice, you gave really good advice there with those two questions I asked you, because for me, the most successful people I've seen in this industry, they're not fucking blowing their money. They treat their money like, bro, if I can't make this work with, 25 hours a day, I'm not going to go to 50 until I make it work with 25 a day. I'm not going to 100 until I make 50 work. They gradually scale, right? And I think what happens a lot of times, what I've seen is that when people have had success, that's when they get fucked. They think it's like, okay, I'm going to go, instead of going back to the basics, doing the small gradual scaling, they'll do the 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, 10,000 a day. And bro, before you know it, they're in the whole 50, 100 grand, and then they give up.
Yeah.
They didn't give themselves enough rope to make it there, man.
Correct. And the thing is, and I'm not saying, I'm speaking out of experience.
Yeah.
Like I've done this too. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, I think you have to. We all have to done
that is working. Let me just increase the budget. Oh, it's still working. Increase the budget. But lo and behold, Google didn't really refresh your stats. So I'm thinking I'm profitable. And then before you know it, I'm in the hole.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't think you need a largest budget as possible. You want to really give the algo its time that it needs. And when I say time, I mean, I launch a campaign, I want to wait at least 48 hours before I make a decision. Yeah. In an ideal situation, we always fall into a trap. When I say we, I mean like media buyers or affiliates, like, oh, we have one good day and that's it. Like the ad is good. You don't know that, If you start out and the ad is bad, it's probably going to be bad. But if the ad is good, it doesn't mean anything. It's just, you got to give it some time. And then once time will tell, and you can have one ad. The cool thing about YouTube, once you figure the stuff out, the offer, the ad, and even the targeting sometimes. I know people act like targeting doesn't work or whatever, but that's false. I mean, yes, it's better now, but targeting does help out for other things, for scaling. You realize that when you start doing that stuff, you can't make those decisions so quickly. You got to give it time. And if you're patient, and that's the issue. It's like everything else. It's like, whatever your hobby is, this is you trading. Yeah. You do $50. It's like, I want to do 1,000 the next time. And it's like, no, bro, have consistency.
Yeah.
Let the results teach you let the results confirm that what you think you're theorizing is correct. And that's it. And once you do that, you realize, okay, this works. Once again, some campaigns, it's taking me 2 months to get the stuff right, like to get it right. But once it was right, it was easy. It took me 10 minutes a day. I would check. That's it. And there you go. But I think that's the biggest thing as far as Facebook versus YouTube. Really be patient with it. Really understand not all verticals are going to work, especially not, and when I say verticals, I mean like not all things with, depending on the AOV, not everything's going to work. You know, if you have something with a low AOV, it's probably not going to work as well. As simple as that. YouTube shines with high ticket stuff. And it's really, don't mess with it too much. The less you mess with it, the better it is. And that's a rule every media buyer knows. When you have a campaign working, for example, let's just say I launched a campaign, even in Facebook or Meta, or whatever people want to call it nowadays. I launched it $100 a day and it starts pumping out leads. I bet you if I don't touch that campaign ever, it'll always produce that. But what's the problem? I don't want 5 leads. I want like 500, you know? So that's the key. Be patient and really stick to very strict rules. Know your KPIs, know what your good CTR, CPM, all that stuff, because you can disqualify an ad beforehand. Yeah, sometimes at the end of the day, what matters is what you spend versus what you generate in revenue. That's the most important thing. But sometimes you get early signals like, yo, I'm getting $6 a click. Well, guess what? That's not going to go down to 2. And, you know, that's not going to be profitable.
So what's working right now? What kind of verticals you see working the best? You mentioned high ticket, obviously. Sounds like anything that's kind of where you get a good payout, right? Would you say that? Or is there any
it is, you get a good payout. Like, you know.
And what is that payout number? You say, what's the line in the sand? I
want to say, for me, I like $50, $60. Yeah. Me personally, that's what I prefer. I'm not saying you can't get some lead gen stuff at $20 to work, but at scale, that gets really tricky, to be honest. A safer number is $100 bucks. So you get some of that stuff like in the supplement space. If you can get past creating an ad, because nowadays YouTube made it. So the thing about YouTube became popular because a lot of people were getting their Facebook ad accounts shut down. And then YouTube was taking everybody. And that always happens. Google starts taking everybody, and they start becoming strict. Right now, YouTube is starting to become strict. So you're getting a lot of ad disapproval, especially in the health space. So it was easier to run ads to like supplements for tinnitus or Prodental, whatever, stuff for your teeth, stuff that magically heals you. But nowadays a little bit harder, but if you can get those ads to pass by, that works. And that works perfect because it goes to a VSL, you know? So it makes sense. You're watching a video and now you're gonna watch a video for the offer and you convert. But YouTube also works for home service lead gen. You know, you wanna play around with regular ads versus shorts, see what works well. But once again, it depends on the payout. You're getting $50, you're getting $60, then yeah, you can get stuff for like $25, $35 a lead. And I don't want to say crazy scale, but you know, 4, 6K a day, you can do that. I've done it. That's how I know it can be done. But those are the main things. Like I wouldn't try to push, I don't know, an opt-in, just an opt-in, like someone gets paid for opting in for an email address. It'd be more for something that's high ticket course.
So it has more meat on the bone at the end of the day.
What's up?
Something that has more meat on the bone.
Correct.
When it comes down to it.
Correct. And you don't want to do it for something that's short term either. Like you do it for some short term offer that they might take off next week. You don't want to do that either because it takes time to figure it out. You know, like I've been approached in the past and I've done it where I've consulted and ran YouTube ads for launches and stuff like that. But that gets really tricky. That works very well when someone has an audience, like someone that's really well known, that type of stuff, it works well as well. But like you're just trying to do a launch and trying to spend, I don't know, 5, 10K a day off the bat, that's not gonna work.
A recipe for disaster at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And you're not gonna have enough rope to figure it out.
All you're doing is making Google richer.
Yeah, 100%. Those guys are rich enough. So what other platforms you see, like what's, What else is like, I don't know, something different? Everyone's on Meta, right? Everyone's on Facebook. I mean, there's YouTube's been around, become harder there. Like, you see anything else up and coming?
Um, Up and coming. I'd say, I mean, native's been around too. People have been using that. I'd say experimenting with more of the other alternative Google options out there, because you do have Performance Max, you do have Google Demand Gen. I'm sure a lot of people are not testing things with them because people think you can't run affiliate stuff on Google, which you can. I know because I've been doing it for a while. So I would say those two, and those platforms, Performance Max, what it does is that it uses all of Google's properties, display, YouTube, search, so on and so forth. It just figures it out for you. It's a little bit black box, but I mean, when it works, it's worked. Specifically for me, it's worked a lot on e-com. I can't say on lead gen I've tested it too much. I have tested demand gen on lead gen, and that's given me some results. I haven't scaled there though either. And demand gen is Google's answer to like Facebook. So if you're one of like the 5 people in the US that have Android phones like I do, there you go. Team Android, baby. You could see it in your Google feed. You could also see it on YouTube. It only shows up on Google properties. So just because of that, Google's gonna have more knowledge about the user because Google has way more knowledge than any other platform about you. And the quality should be better. So I'd say those 2 things are probably the things that people should start testing out. On top of the fact that YouTube actually, for YouTube campaigns, so not to get too deep into the weeds, but YouTube campaigns, you have different bidding types. So one of them is a conversion bidding type. That's what most people use. That's going to be moved to demand gen anyways. So you might as well start learning about that beforehand. And that's going to be, I don't know, somewhere in 2025, I think. I don't remember the date, but it's pretty soon.
You just dropped some like Colombia con knowledge right there, man. That's
hey, man, I got to give the goods. If not, I won't get invited again to this wonderful room.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good segue here. We're going to switch the subject now. We're going to talk about Medellin.
All right.
When did you move here again?
Dude, I moved here in 2009.
Wow.
2009, yeah.
Bro, 2009. My first time here was 2016. I've seen the fucking massive change since 2016. I can't imagine what 2009 was like over here, man.
I mean, my first time here was 2006.
Wow.
So, yeah, but for 2009, a lot of these buildings didn't exist. Like, you would go up the hills and you would just be able to see the rest of the city. Now you got some views that are just blocked by all these skyscrapers, all these buildings. A lot has changed. Culture-wise, it's been becoming a little bit more Americanized. Simple stuff that you wouldn't think about, like even going to a restaurant and, I don't know, having ramen or something. That was hard to find. Now you have that everywhere. You got all these sushi places everywhere. Now I'm saying that they have sushi, they had that, but everything was just rice and beans. Rice and beans and chicharrón. And that was it. And drinks, guaro and pilsen. And that was it. So a lot has changed. A lot. I want to say that I still love living here. The cost of living does play a part, but it's become more expensive. It's not as
I've seen it,
as it used to be. But it's just the lifestyle. Like for me, everything is 10, 15 minutes away because of where I choose to live. Also, I have wonderful views. I wake up every morning, I look outside, I see the mountains. If it's raining and the weather is never too hot, it's never way too cold, it's never too humid. You're in Florida, so you know about that.
Oh, yeah. No,
Step outside that car,
you feel
it's like you trying to get back in there. But, sometimes it rains, sometimes it's sunny, but it's awesome. It's always home. At times, I'm not going to lie, at times I'm like, all right, I need some more action. But that's fine. I'll take a little trip. But I'll come back in a few days. You have that mountain smell, when you're coming down the mountain, you coming down Rio Negro, and then you come out that tunnel, you just see Medellin. It never gets old. It never gets old.
How do you feel that being here has benefited you in terms of a media buyer in your business?
I mean, it's benefited me immensely because this is where I started. I got into media buying because I had a call center, right? And I had a call center.
Debt settlement
That was a debt settlement, yeah.
Okay.
I had a call center. And I had a call center because it was affordable to do that here at the time. We talk about wages and things of that nature. So it allowed me to, because, being from New York, I'm here. I had no family here. So it allowed me to experiment. Sometimes entrepreneurship is a difficult thing.
Yeah.
But not something
Lonely, man.
It's always it's a difficult thing
Yeah.
because you're not gonna have a lot of people behind you, and you're gonna suck for a long time. And you don't know how long you're gonna suck for, right? So being over here gave me the opportunity to just be able to not have other outside influences, be able to be a place where I didn't know anybody and just put my head down and do what I have to do. Now we're talking about modern day, even me yearning YouTube ads, the way I got the job, I met someone online who just happened to be living in Medellin. I applied for the job and he was like, when can you interview? I was like, yo, I'm right across the street. Where you at right now? And I showed up and I met people because they're coming down here. Like people have been discovering the place now. And I mean, even you and now we got other people coming down with Colombia Con that happened recently. So to me, it's beneficial. And it just makes sense as far as, you have other locations that other people like and talk about. But, a lot of our business is done in the States.
Yep.
Let's be real. So the proximity is like 3.5 hours away from Miami, 5.5 hours if I want to go to New York, where my family's at. And on top of that, the time zone, everything, it just makes sense. And now, when I first came here, not a lot of people spoke English, but now that's been changing as well, and they're more adapted to the culture. So, if I really wanted to say, hey, I want to get an assistant or things of that nature, that's available to you as well.
Yeah. And also, I feel like the community, man, there's a lot of affiliates here. I saw that Colombia Con, I think half the people that were there lived here.
Yeah, and that's something that's been growing since the last few. I mean, there's probably people here when I first got here that I didn't know that existed here. But yeah, I've met a lot of people that travel the world. And at the end of the day, at some point, and I've met people that have been telling me for years, like, oh, I'm leaving Medellin. I'm gonna find somewhere else. And I see them in the coffee shop like, bro, I thought you were leaving.
Yeah.
What's going on? So it's just a wonderful place. And a lot of people like coming here. So affiliate, and they realize that, like, you can get, not to be, I mean, you can get maid service, you're a private salsa instructor, private language instructor, all these amenities that you would think would cost lots and lots of money back home, because they probably would. You get that available to you. And you don't have to be, a super affiliate to get all that. Yeah. So it's just a different way of living. Like, I learned at an early age, I am lazy. I like things done for me. I like good stuff.
Convenience,
correct. I'd rather spend my time doing anything to either grow a business, make more money, meet people, connect, network, and Beijing allows for all that to happen.
Yeah, and also the people. I feel like, I lived in South Carolina from 2012 to 2017, and you hear about the Southern hospitality. I feel like here they take that shit to a whole nother level. Like right? I feel like they want you to be an ambassador when you come back home to America. Like, yo, this place is the fucking best, and bring 5 more people, bring 10 more people, right? Do you feel that way?
The funniest thing is, like, I mean, I don't know about your experience, but New York is the opposite. So,
yeah,
I remember I'll go into a supermarket. I'll be like, talk to the security guy. Hey, where's so-and-so thing? And he look at me like, good afternoon.
Yeah.
And I'm like, good afternoon.
Trying to check you.
And I'm like, good afternoon, bro. Yeah. Now, could you tell me where's the stuff?
Yeah.
But it's just part of their culture. Like, they're really just about like, yo, they want to say hi, say bye. Like, even you get on an elevator and everyone stays quiet. And then it was like, have a good day.
Yeah.
So it's a cool thing. It is a nice thing. It's something that you really don't appreciate until once you leave here. Like, I'm in New York. I'm like, damn, everyone's mad. Like, wow, what's going on, But that's New York,
Yeah.
It's part of that hate-love relationship. But here, the people, they're very nice. They're very polite. And that helps. That helps, especially when you wake up and you feel like you're going to conquer the world and nothing works out.
Yep.
At the end of the day, at least I leave, people are nice. I got a nice restaurant, go have dinner, have a nice a glass of wine, go home, look outside at my balcony and look at the mountains.
Yeah.
And then be like, tomorrow's another day.
Yeah, there's something peaceful about being here. It's a weird, it's hard to describe. It's very unique, I think. You feel that you got that city little hustle and bustle, but it's not overwhelming. But it's a nice feeling, right? Especially for me, bro. I travel all over the world, and when I go to New York, I pick up. When I go to Jersey too, I'm like, I step it up, right? Here, I I have a little pep in my step, but I don't have that sense of stress and that crazy sense of urgency. I feel a little bit more calmer, man. It's something in the air for sure.
Yeah,
Maybe it's the fucking weather. I don't know what it is. It's crazy.
You definitely walked 2 miles an hour slower here than in New York. I get to New York, I'm like,
Yeah, it just happens right away.
over here it's like,
yeah.
that was nice outside. It's cool. No, for sure, man. I mean, it just makes sense for me. And I think that's important in anything that you do. Everyone wants to be grinding and hustling and hitting it hard, but you need to give the body some rest. And part of it is the culture here likes working out. So you get into working out. You could hike on the weekends. You could travel. Every city's an hour away in a plane. If you want to go to the beach, if you want to go to a bigger city like Bogota, there's too many reasons not to leave, to want to leave. There's so many reasons to stay.
All right, that's why we're doing Colombia Con Part 2 early January.
That's what's up.
That's I know a lot of you guys are doing pay per call. A lot of you guys have call centers. We got AI in the house. We got Neil Billick. He's the founder and the CEO of All Rise AI. They're doing big things. I'm a user of his service.
We are coming in immediately 4Xing contact rates for clients. What we found in my BPO when I ran it and deployed the AI was we had 30-second wait times before the deployment between connections. And my guys were making about 500 connections a day. Times 30 seconds, we were wasting 250 minutes a day per head in a call center.
That's 4 hours. That's half
4 hours,
day.
half their day, or half their wages being spent on them waiting for a call.
Yeah.
The reason your wait time's high is when you're calling out, you have an abandon rate you have to stay under of 3%. That's programmed in your dialer.
If the AI is weeding that out, and I think that's the benefit, it's collapsing time frames, it's helping your top producers produce, which is what you want them to do.
People are afraid AI is going to replace call center agents, and it may, but right now, use it to maximize your human resource. So leveraging it for the tools it can be to do exactly what you're saying. Let the humans do what they can do best. Let the AI get cursed out.
Yeah. Right. Then the good thing, going back to the affiliate committee, there was someone there I've talked about a lot. He's $200 million a year ad spend on some ecom product. What was it, like Amazing Green something? Remember that guy from Australia, Robbie?
I do remember.
Bro, like it blew me away. And you would think, like, who would think that? Again, not the perception. You think like a lot of these heavy hitters are in fucking Miami, they're in New York, they're in California. But bro, there's heavy hitters here too, putting up massive numbers. And the guy was super humble. And one thing I didn't really get to spend as much time as I wanted with him, but my question to him would have been like, why Medellin? Why you come here? And I would suspect it's for that fucking peace of mind, right? And I feel like when you're in America, man, everyone's trying to keep up with the Joneses, man. You're in Miami, everyone's got a fucking Lamborghini, they got this, they got that, bro. And it's like, I feel like here you don't, and I could be wrong, I don't fucking live here, but I would imagine maybe there's less, you don't fucking have to show off. And if you fucking show off here, you're getting fucking robbed too, right? I don't wear fucking fancy,
I've seen Ferraris here, and I'm like, I don't know, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Especially with the mountains and stuff.
For real, man. But it's like, I think it's like, it's you focus on what the fuck matters is what it comes down to. There's a lot of nature here, and you could like lock in is what you could do, I would imagine, right?
That's what I think. I mean, whether you're by yourself, you have a family, you have a place where you can get away. You have the mountains right there. You have the combination of the city if you want it, and the countryside is like maybe 40 minutes away.
Yeah.
And you just chilling. So, I mean, I don't know why he chose it. I can only speak to me, but it's just when you're on certain cities, I feel like it's good to a certain point that, especially when you're on the come up, like getting ambitious and because when you see other people making moves or at least looking like they're making moves, you're like, oh man, now you start thinking your aspirations weren't good enough. You want higher, you want more money, so on and so forth. But once you conquer that mentally and you come to a point where like, hey, I'm happy, I'm good if I make this much. Anything else is just me keeping score. Mm-hmm. Then it's just a matter of where you want to sit down and disconnect, where you want to do your things, what you want your day-to-day to look like. Like some people value their health more than anything.
Yeah.
But other people, they want that chaos. I feel like this gives a little bit of peace living here to the chaos that is what we do.
Yeah, 100%. Final question for you is, we talked about, we're coming back to where we started off with. What's the future of lead gen in your opinion? A lot of changes have happened, right? Fucking paper calls, I feel like making a comeback. I mean, you have people, some guys just focus on web forums. We talked about YouTube. What do you think? Where do you think this is all going? What's the future of this?
I think the future is the long game. And by that, I mean, it's not about, can I generate 1,000 leads in a week? It's really about, how do you create the audience of people that are into what you're talking about and actually have these needs, right? You see it everywhere. You see the podcast, you see influencers, so on and so forth. And yeah, some of these things are like roofing, like, oh, no one's gonna be excited about roofing. But people with homes, you know, if you have an audience of, let's just say, mothers that create certain crafts in the home, when you talk about roofing, who are they gonna go to? They're gonna go to the person that they buy the courses from, the person that they talk to, the person they like their content, so on and so forth. I think that's where the future is going. Arbitrage, these arbitrage opportunities, because that's what we're doing. Arbitrage always going to exist, but if you think of the long game and you really put in the effort, I think that's where it's at. It's really, and now with AI, there's no reason you can't generate content at scale. So if you generate the right content at scale, you get the right audience, you really dig into your avatar, you could sell that person a million things, whether it's affiliate, whether it's your own thing. And I think that's where it's going. But it's, once again, it's patience. No one wants to hear that.
Yeah, you're right, bro. And that was a great answer, by the way, because I do fully believe that. You got this one-to-one consent going on. All this stuff is going on. And I think it's going to come to higher quality. And at the end of the day, if you're producing that quality, you're going to get reimbursed for that. You're going to be able to charge a premium for that lead.
Correct.
So you got to think outside the box and play that long game, right? And I think also, going back to Colombia and a lot of these digital nomads, I think that, you know, an issue, I see there's some employees in America, people are fucking strapped. You thought that inflation is real. I know there's inflation going on here too, but the cost of living in America is through the fucking roof. I don't care if you live in fucking Tennessee, you live in New York, it's everywhere, right? So I think that if you can be somewhere, it's a life hack. If you can be somewhere where you can actually, you know, make U.S. money in a country like Colombia, that's going to relieve that pressure where you're not going to have to throw crazy shit against the wall to try to sell bullshit leads to, you know, be able to put food in your mouth for your family. It gives you a little bit of, takes the pressure off of you, so you can actually focus on deliver a good quality for your client, man.
Of course.
You know, so I think that's
that was a key reason for me moving here when I did. I was like, live in New York, that time, rent was 2 G's, and you're still.
Was that 1 bedroom? What was it back then for 2 G's?
It's probably, maybe it's a 2-bedroom, be all the way in Jamaica, Queens, or all the way uptown, you know?
Yeah.
You know, and I was like, man, this doesn't make sense. Like, you look at your check, let's say I was making $4,000 a month, of that, taxes and everything.
Oh yeah, you get triple.
I get $2,700 left. If I rent a room, it's another $1,000. I got $1,700 to get up and down, to eat, and to do whatever I want to do. Like, that's not money. I mean, you and I both know that's not money in New York.
No, you can't do shit, man.
You can't do anything.
You gotta do some illegal shit to bridge the gap, man. That's really what it comes down to.
Facts.
But bro, that's the hack, is what I'm saying. Listen, if I had no family, man, or whatever, I was younger, I'd fucking, if I'm not hunkered down, man, I'd be in another country. I like seeing like these guys, like some of the best media buyers I've seen, they're overseas, or they may have grown up like you. They grew up in America, and then boom, they travel the world. They fell in love with one part of the world. Some people fell in love with Eastern Europe. They stayed there. Some people fell in love with Portugal. They're there. Some are South America, Central America, where the hell. But I really think that's a hack, man, and that if you got your basic needs met, then you could really focus on your craft and you could provide those quality leads. Because I really think you're going to have a lot of people flush the fuck out. Happened in solar. Guys that are putting up massive numbers in solar, gone, right? We're still around. We're not putting up the numbers we were. We're still putting up decent numbers, but the point is that we're able to weather the damn storm to stick around. So if you can somehow have less pressure on yourself financially, less fucking stress, more peace of mind, man. So that's why I think the digital nomads or people like you that have been here for so long, it gives you an advantage at the end of the day, because it lets you kind of like breathe a little bit easier without having to worry about all this bullshit, man.
And I know one last thing, I think that, and it's something, an advantage. I didn't have that advantage at that time, but I would say something like someone that's younger, you know, in their 20s, their early 20s. You know, there's a lot of these communities out there, and there's groups of people living together where they get to enjoy the benefits of youth. At the same time, they're all working on their businesses together.
Yeah.
And I've seen a lot of people scale up in life just doing that, having that support, their support group, people that in the same industry. So it would make sense if you're interested in being in a space, looking at what these communities are, whether these cities in Medellin, whether it's Thailand, whether it's Eastern Europe, South Africa. There's people everywhere doing that. Reach out to those people. Maybe some of those people mentor you, and really, you know, if you have a little bit of money where you have some ambition and you have some skills, really develop those skills in those areas, because you take advantage, you get the best of both worlds. You're living young, you get to enjoy yourself, but you get to be around your peers that are going to help you out.
So how would you find that community? Let's say someone moved wherever, maybe they moved to Bogota or they moved to Mexico City. Like, what's your advice for finding?
I mean, I think nowadays everything is social media, right?
Yeah.
IG, you follow enough people, you get some people putting a video here and there, and really pay attention to what you're seeing out there. If you see someone doing ads for, let's just say, an agency or something like that, getting clients, they're probably living abroad. And when they're living abroad, you really follow them. You get part of their group, you talk to them, and eventually you just find yourself. It's the same way, you know, I met you first. I saw you. Well, yeah, but I first saw you like on a podcast with John. I didn't even met
that's
John.
true. I forgot about that. Yeah.
I saw you podcast with John, and I didn't even know who you were. I was like, oh, whatever. And then I met you in Affiliate Summit. So there's always ways of doing it. You just got to find a way of doing it. Reach out to those people, whether it's a DM, LinkedIn, whatever it is. Look at different, I want to say expat groups. Well, not the ones here. Maybe outside of here.
I need those groups for the call center over here in Medellin, man.
What's that?
You gotta connect me with those expat groups. I want to hire them, man. No, these aren't the ones to hire.
No. You don't want to do that. Trust me. You don't want that group.
You give me the other groups. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. I hope you. But yeah, I think it's just a matter of, once again, there's people putting videos out there, content out there. They're already living abroad, and you see it in the background. They got mountains in the background. They're probably in Medellin.
Yeah, so I agree. And you made a good point. I forgot about that podcast, man. And I'd say that listen to these podcasts. John's podcast is great, the affiliate marketing show, anything industry related, and you learn more about that person. You get a glimpse in their life. Maybe, you know, out of every 5 people that are on that, maybe there's one that resonates with you. And then find their Instagram, hit them up. You might find them at the show, and then you talk. That's what happened with us, right? We saw that podcast. We saw each other at Affiliate Summit. You were from New York, man. I was living there at the time in Jersey, right across the river. We connected on that. Then you're like, I'm in Medellin. My wife's from Medellin. I go there all the time, right? And then, bro, all of a sudden you're at Colombia Con, right? We're here. Every time I'm here, we see each other, right?
Yeah,
I always make sure I got my go-to in every city. I'm here on this part. I'm going to hit this person up. So I think that's what it is. It's not rocket science at the end of the day, right? That's what it comes down to.
It's just that you can't be behind your computer.
Yeah.
Like, half of this business is you got to meet people. You got to go out there. If you don't meet the right person, you're not going to get a good payout. Period. If you don't meet people, you're not going to generate a business. You need to do sales.
Yeah.
And you got to have that very clear. So once you have that clear, you can't just be good at ads and writing copy.
Yeah.
Doesn't work that way.
And just one idea, man, could just change the whole trajectory of everything, man. That's what it comes down to. That's awesome, man. Bro, this was amazing. We really touched upon a lot. We got deep into the YouTube. We got deep into other platforms. And I just think there's such a wealth of knowledge here, man. How can people find out more about you, Ray? I mean, Rafael?
So good. You can find out about me, Rafael, Rafael MRTA. Rafael MRTA at, that's my Instagram handle.
Yeah.
Or you can find me Rafael Moreta on LinkedIn. Just connect with me there. I'm starting an email list.
Nice.
So I have the link probably on my Instagram, maybe some other profiles.
What are you going to talk about the email? You're going to have tips on YouTube?
Yeah, I'm just talking about YouTube. I'm going to talk about, I'm going to start talking about YouTube ads.
Okay.
But I want people really to not, really appreciate Google in general. I always like doing experiments. I've tested different things. I've heard a lot of theories out there and I've tested them and I'm like, I don't think that's true. There's a lot of gurus out there. I'm the guy pressing the buttons. So I want to talk about those type of things. And if people want to hear that content, you sign up to the email list and get on board.
Bro, I say success leaves clues. Super successful. We're doing this a long time. You got the fucking sauce. Subscribe to his email. Put yourself in an email list. I'm going to do it. I'm going to have my team do it as well.
I know that.
We'll definitely do it, man. Got see him at Colombia Con too. He'll be there as well. We're thinking January 7th, 8th, and 9th, around that time period.
Sounds good.
We're going to bring in the new year with a fucking bang, baby.
Sounds good, bro. We're going to have some guado though, right?
Guado, all that shit. You got it all, man. All right, good stuff, man. Great having you on the show, man.
Bro. Pleasure.
Hit him up. You know where to find him. Let's fucking go.